Welcome to EO Talks, Eastern Oregon's very own talk show, only here on EO Alive.
Hello there and Happy New Year, Eastern Oregon. This is Alex McCadden, your EO Alive News Director. This year I've had a chance to interview a dozen candidates for governor on EO Talks, Eastern Oregon's very own talk show. Ballots for the 2022 primary election won't be mailed out until April, but candidates started engaging with us early. My favorite part of the interview segment is our world-famous lightning round, where candidates talk about their preferences for ducks or beavers, along with their favorite Oregon landmark, Oregon beer, and location in Eastern Oregon. EO Alive is a nonpartisan news station. We don't plan to endorse any candidate, so we have great conversations with political leaders of all parties. This lightning round supercut starts with Republican candidate Mayor Stan Pulliam of Sandy. Last up, we'll have a little bit of a lightning round. So, ducks or beavers?
Ducks.
Ducks, okay. What's your favorite Oregon landmark?
Favorite Oregon landmark? Haystack Rock.
What is your favorite Oregon beer?
Oregon beer. I don't know if they make it anymore. I always loved the Deschutes Twilight.
Where's your favorite place you visited in Eastern Oregon? And that could be in the last 20 years or wherever.
I'd have to say Vail. My mom's from Vail. We have all kinds of memories going during the 4th of July weekend to the local rodeo and the different activities going on there. And I would say just because it invokes, childhood memories and family and friends from the area.
Next up is Constitution Party candidate Paul Romero. All right. Well, we'll end on a lighter note. We got a little lightning round for you.
Okay.
So first off, ducks or beavers?
I growing up, I started out as a Beaver fan because all my friends went to they were Beavers. Had a Oregon Beavers football jersey I wore whenever I went skiing, along with my kamikaze headband. Because when I was screaming on the mountain, get out of the way, And of course with the Ducks, started following the Ducks, and it's been a lot of fun. Really enjoyed watching them, but you got to admit they've been kind of neck and neck, right? So it's kind of like this. When it comes to them playing against each other, well, I'm gonna take the Ducks. And when it's elsewhere, I'm gonna be rooting for both of them, whoever else they're playing.
All right. What's your favorite Oregon landmark?
Oregon landmark. Gosh, in Boy Scouts, I've hiked all over the place. I've camped with my family, fishing everywhere. There's one place I like to go a lot because it's really as close to the sky as I can get. Where Big Summit Prairie is in the Ochoco's?
No, I don't think so.
They kind of did a big solar. Remember when the solar eclipse happened? They did that huge event out there. The guy was brilliant in what he did. I gotta hand it to him. But there's a place up there I go to, Allen Creek Reservoir, that I really enjoy. But you got to know how to get there. It's kind of back roads and back trails, and you better have 4-wheel drive. And that's a place where I like to go because literally you might be able to get a text out if you're out in the middle of the reservoir. Okay. So it kind of makes it quiet. And at night, that starry sky is like a screensaver. It's amazing. So kind of like that.
All righty. What's your favorite Oregon beer?
Oregon beer. Gosh. Well, I'm going to have to go with 10 Barrel Apocalypse. But my wife and I are both rather fond of Amber Bock Dark, which actually for me comes from my rugby days with the University of Louisiana Raging Cajuns. And for Oksana, she likes that beer too. So now we'll share one here and there. It's kind of fun.
Nice. What's your favorite place to visit in Eastern Oregon?
Eastern Oregon. Wow. Man, there's so many places. There's one place, it's kind of historic. It had to do when Japan was sending balloons. I don't know if you're familiar with the story, with bombs on them. And the goal was to try to set up forest fires on the West Coast to basically burn Americans out of America, right? The good news is it failed. The bad news is one of those bombs landed and unfortunately killed a woman and a number of her children during a picnic when they found it, but that's kind of a place. It's pretty historic. It's kind of important, and it's a reminder, that things can happen in your backyard if you're not careful. You got to be mindful,
Next up is Democratic candidate Commissioner Caseykula of Yamhill County. Now it's time for the lightning round. So first off, ducks or beavers?
Oh my goodness. My whole point is to bring people together to build community across these divisions. And you give me the most divisive question that you can answer and ask in Oregon. But I will say that I love duck eggs, but I think that we can fundamentally shape our landscape with a little bit of help from beavers.
There you go. That's the most unique take I've heard on it so far. What's your favorite Oregon landmark? Hopefully it's a little less divisive.
Oh my gosh. Being from the coast, I would say that just literally the beach. I'm not a person for grand things. So stepping out on the beach and seeing all the other people being able to access that is like, oh, it's so beautiful to me. Like, I love hearing all the different languages and all the different colors and shapes and sizes of people, and all their dogs are going wild. And if I really want to, I can just be out there by myself, and I can get out in the waves and surf in the morning and nobody will be around. So that is definitely my favorite. But, you know, you never ask an elected official what their favorite thing is in a state. Come on, Alex.
Oh, it's going to get worse. What's your favorite Oregon beer?
Oh my goodness. I would say that the one I'm most familiar with is the Terminator Stout. So that's really, yeah. But there are so many.
Yeah.
But you haven't asked me what's my favorite Pinot, because really that would be like the thing that would get me into danger in my community, is if I identified my favorite Pinot, right? Oh, because we have like, so Pinot Noir is like the grape that we grow in Yamhill County. I mean, I don't grow it, but like everybody else seems to. Yeah. So if my favorite wine grape is Pinot Noir, how about that?
Okay, that's good. That's less divisive. What's your favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
I would say honestly the Wallowa Mountains, but you know, again, divisive, man, very divisive.
Oh yeah, lightning round. Yeah, lightning's not the least destructive thing in the world.
Absolutely.
Right.
I must say that the first time that you like go over the crest and you first see the lake at Wallowa Lake, I was like, so I've spent a lot of time in the subalpine zone. So I spent, we go up to Mount Jefferson, for example, in the North Cascades. I did my research up in the subalpine zone. It's a place that's really calls to me. And so when I came up over that rise and you can first see the lake, I was like, but I'm not in a subalpine zone, but I feel like I'm in a subalpine zone right now. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
It was probably the first time as an adult, realistically.
Okay.
Yeah. But so my family, so I grew up at the coast, but my mother's family are all from the Dalles. So I must say, I know it's not Eastern Oregon, but being up on that bluff, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's close to it in a biogeographical sense. How about that? Because when you're up on the bluff, it's not like down on the river, right?
Yeah. And
you look behind you and you've got the wheat fields. And my parents, so my mother's cousins all grew cherries. They've since passed on their land to other growers. They still own it, but a lot of cherry farmers in the Dalles. And I feel like there's something so amazing about irrigated cherries on like these desert steppes above the Columbia, and you're like looking down and you got that strip of water, and then you've got the hills that are yellow, and then right in front of you you've got your cherry trees that are irrigated. It's for pure like panoramic beauty, I'd say Wallowas, but for that, like, this is a place where people can live and thrive. Those hills in the Dalles are pretty amazing.
Next up is Republican candidate, Business Oregon Commissioner Jessica Gomez of Medford. All right, so last up is a little lightning round for you. Ducks or beavers?
Ducks.
Awesome. Favorite Oregon landmark?
Crater Lake.
All righty. Do you have a favorite Oregon beer?
Ooh, oh gosh, so many. I love Deschutes Brewery. I think they do great. I mean, and I just, yeah, there's so many.
Right. Lastly, do you have a favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
I really have loved being here in La Grande. I think you have just a beautiful area here, an amazing community. I got to, go to the car show today and spend time with people, and I just really appreciated that time to be here, to learn about this area. Just a great place. It looks like a great place to live and raise kids. I'm really impressed.
Next up is non-affiliated candidate Timothy Harold of Dundee. First up, ducks or beavers?
Oh, beavers. I'm sorry. We'll go with the beavers. So,
Right.
I grew up in the Bay, so I'm going to say this, Stanford. So, anyway. But if it's ducks and beavers, I go with the beavers.
Alrighty. What's your favorite Oregon landmark?
Favorite Oregon? Hug Point.
Okay.
So,
what is your favorite Oregon beer?
Oh, man. Not a beer drinker. I'm not a drinker. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We won't hold it against you.
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
My favorite place in Eastern Oregon. Hermiston. I have friends there. It's a nice small town. I love that place.
It is nice. Great watermelons. Next up is Republican candidate Mark Thielmann, Superintendent of Elsie School District. Lightning round for you. First question there is ducks or beavers?
Oh, I have 9 children. That's painful. Elsie is in beaver country. My house residence is in Cottage Grove, which is duck country. So I'm going to take the political approach, and I would prefer to say I'm a platypus. So duck bill and a beaver body. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the big, when they play each other, they used to call it the Civil War, but I guess that's not okay anymore. But when they come to meet each other, I hate to say it, and I know this might offend some of my duck friends, but I'm a beaver.
Oof.
I know.
All righty. Well, do you have a favorite Oregon landmark?
Well, there's too many to count. I think the one that's been the most impactful, and I find myself driving off the interstate every time I drive by, would be Multnomah Falls. It's one of the most beautiful waterfalls I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
It absolutely is. Do you have a favorite Oregon beer?
Anything from 10 Barrels or Deschutes. Matter of fact, the best part of moving to Oregon, and I hope this is politically correct, there's two things besides all the great people in this beautiful state. One is the beer, and the other is the wine. The Pinot Noirs in Oregon are amazing. So I know that was probably more answer than you wanted, but now in terms of types of beer, I like Pilsners and Hefeweizens. Anything from 10 Barrel Deschutes is amazing. Even Black Butte Porter, wonderful.
All righty. Last up, do you have a favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
Well, the Eastern Oregon it's too beautiful to pick one. But I hate to say this, but because I had good times and bad times there. But if you've never been to the Wallowa Valley in Wallowa County, up by Wallowa Lake and up by Joseph, I would argue that is a place that is always calling me, and it's beautiful no matter what season of the year to visit. It's like the Alps of Oregon, just truly majestic place. Ironically, also where the Nez Perce tribe in their traditional grounds lived.
Next up is Republican candidate Mayor Carrie McQuiston of Baker City. So we got a lightning round for you.
All right.
First off, ducks or beavers?
I am not trying to be politically correct here, but I am absolutely neutral on that.
Oh, yeah?
I really am.
Ooh.
I could sit and watch that and enjoy both sides.
All righty.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Oregon landmark?
Oregon landmark. That's hard to tell because there's so many beautiful places in Oregon, but I am going to plug the Elkhorn Scenic Byway. Okay, that's a loop that goes from Baker City up around Anthony Lakes, and it's only open a couple months a year due to the snow, but comes back down in the historic mining town of Granite, Sumter, and then back around to Baker City. And along the way, there are so many trails of every difficulty level. There are lakes everywhere you look. It's just absolutely beautiful. So that is the perfect day trip. So highly recommend it.
Awesome. Well, you're the first candidate who's from Eastern Oregon.
True.
So every candidate I've asked, what is your favorite place in Eastern Oregon? And I think you just said it. So what is your second favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
My second favorite place might be my first favorite place, actually. It's my family ranch. Yeah.
Okay.
One of my very favorite things to do, it absolutely relaxes me, is to get on the four-wheeler and just go. It's beautiful and healing and quiet. The wildflowers and an elk and a bear here and there. So it's the best place to be.
Nice.
Yeah.
Last up, what is your favorite Oregon beer?
You ask these questions. I'm probably the worst person to ask that one of. I'm fascinated with how beer is made, but I don't drink. I never acquired the taste for beer. So I do like to cook with it quite a bit, though. So, yeah.
Okay. Then if you were going to go cook something with beer, which one would you grab off the shelf?
I have no idea. There's no favorite when you're baking. I've gotten to where I take a little bit of everything and just try one at a time. So it's a lot of fun.
Next up is Democratic candidate Patrick Starnes of Brownsville, a former member of the Mackenzie School. Alrighty, next up, we'll do the lightning round. First off,
Okay.
ducks or beavers?
Well, I'm a U of O grad, so that's like a no-brainer, you know. And it was my wife's a Buckeye, so it was, you know, it was, yeah, it's tough, but somebody has to win, right?
Yeah.
It might as well be the, because she's moved to the coast too.
What is your favorite Oregon landmark?
Oh, there's so many. Just the other day, I took some friends from back east to Crater Lake. Wow. And, you know, I went there in the past, but to go again, you know, and to go often, I think is important. What a symbol for Oregon's beauty and majesty. I mean, it's just so bigger than life and so unreal. It was, and the deep blue waters, just like you think those photos are photoshopped, but it's real and it's big. And it's got interesting history, you know, because it was like Mount Mazama at 12,000 feet. And then it blew while the Native Americans were here. So that's pretty interesting folk tales from the Klamath Indians, I'm sure.
Yeah, there is no place like Crater Lake.
Yeah, I do. I want to put Paulina Lakes, those just east of Bend and Prineville, on my list. I mean, there's a whole list of things. There's some great hot springs in Eastern Oregon. It's called Snively. It's on the Oahe River. And there are other hot springs across the state that are just, we're so blessed. And that's what was cool when I had the friends here visiting, is that we not only have the recognizable rainforest and old growth in Oregon, but then we have the coast, and then we have the high desert. And then where I live is the flat, you know, it's like Indiana kind of flat, Willamette Valley, where all the farming is. So it's such a diverse state, and so beautiful. And I'm so proud to be an Oregonian.
Same. What is your favorite Oregon beer?
I'm a non-alcoholic beer drinker. And when we came, it used to just be like German beers, like Beck's and stuff. But when we came back from Crater Lake, we went through Bend and stopped at Deschutes Brewery, and they have a new one, and it's called Irish Draft. It's my first dark beer that's non-alcoholic, so that was quite a tasty treat.
Nice. Alrighty, last up, do you have a favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
Oh, I have many. I'm not saying this correctly. The Wallowa era, you know, Enterprise, Joseph. Those mountains are just like Yellowstone. I don't know if you've been to Yellowstone, and I've never been to the Alps, but I imagine those snow-capped ridges are probably comparable to the Alps. You know, so many favorite places across the state, but I was like, wow. My wife, both, and I were impressed.
Next up is Republican candidate Lieutenant Colonel Jim Huggins of Salem. Next up is our fun lightning round. So first off, ducks or beavers?
Oh man, you're going to hate me for the answer on this one. Okay. All right. I'm going to say wolves. Western Oregon University, wolves, because I've worked with German Shepherds for about 35 years or so, particularly rescue German Shepherds. In fact, Apollo's down here sleeping at my feet right now. I've got a really big soft spot for wolf conservation. I absolutely admire those folks. I know that we have a wolf conservatory here in Oregon, as a matter of fact. I love what they're doing. And so, sorry, I got to go Western Oregon because of the mascot more than anything.
That's okay. I'm going to say Eastern because I went to EOU, so I get it.
There you go.
Do you have a favorite Oregon landmark?
Oh man, I got a bunch of them, and that's we moved here because of the beauty of the state. There's not a place that my wife and I travel that we just don't marvel at how gorgeous it is. But if I got to pick one, I first was going to say, well, you know, hey, let's narrow it down to the coast of Oregon. It's a drop dead gorgeous coast, I think. I mean, I grew up in North Carolina, totally different ocean front there, but I love the rugged coastline part. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to pick Proposal Rock over Nesquin because that's the first place I took my wife when we moved here. I had come out ahead while she was transitioning her job back on the East Coast. I'd come out with the kids and got everything set up. And so when she arrived, the first place I took her was there, and so I'll pick that one.
Nice. Do you have a favorite Oregon beer?
Well, that's also hard because I actually like a lot of beer. But Gilgamesh, and see, this was pre-COVID. Gilgamesh Brewery here in Salem had introduced a Hefeweizen. I think it was called DJ Jazzy Hef, if I remember correctly. I really like that one. It's got a great aroma to it, but it's just a really good Hef.
Gotcha. Do you have a favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
I'll tell you, the number one place on my bucket list is in Eastern Oregon. Okay. I want to go out to the John Day Fossil Monuments because I'm a huge fan of the dinosaurs. I love paleontology. One of the things I've always wanted to do was do a dinosaur dig out in, I don't know, Eastern Mongolia or something. But the John Day National Monument is number one on my bucket list. When I get some time, that's the next place I'm going.
Alrighty. Well, I'm sure the people in Grant County would love to have you.
I hope so. I'll tell them I'm coming. They may go, well, we don't care. We'll ignore him, but I'm going there because that's what I want to see.
That's good. Next up is Republican candidate Bridget Barton of West. Alrighty, next up is our famous lightning round. So first off, ducks or beavers?
Oh, ducks. I have a duck in the family. I'm not a duck, but he's a duck. So
There you
our
go.
son.
What is your favorite Oregon landmark?
It's not a big one, but I'm really fascinated by the fossil beds. I love digging in the fossil beds. And I think it was, when I've been there, it's so rare that you can go a place like that and actually go dig in there and find fossils. I just thought that was amazing. And I love that part of the state. I love the whole geography over there, the painted hills, everything. So
Nice. Do you have a favorite Oregon-based food or beverage?
Well, I'm in recovery, so I don't drink wine or beer. I probably fall short on that, picking something there. Food. Well, I have to say my husband is a state fair blue ribbon winner in his jams. And we always do that together. So the berries, I think, are a big favorite in our family. We love to go pick them wild. And then, and we send them to Christmas presents to all our family all over the country. And they love that.
Nice. What is your favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
Well, the fossil beds are there, but I think probably in Eastern Oregon, I mean it's northeast. Well, the Wallowas, love Wallowa Lake. I think that's just I love wide open spaces. Wisconsin, I don't know if you know, but being born there, it's very flat and open. There's a lot of sky, and so I sort of like that geography. I find that very peaceful.
Next up is Republican candidate Amber Richardson of Jackson County. All right, now it's time for our famous lightning round. So first off, ducks or beavers?
Ducks will be for football, beavers will be for baseball.
What is your favorite Oregon landmark?
So for the landmark thing, when you've been born and raised in Oregon, you've pretty much been anywhere. So I really actually want to go somewhere that I haven't been, and I've really been wanting to go to this one place, and it's in Eastern Oregon. It's called Mount Hart, but it's called a glass house. So I really want to go see that. So for a famous landmark, it's somewhere I have never been. So that would be where I want to go.
All right. What is your favorite Oregon wine or beer?
So for wine, I'm not a super beer fan, so I'm gonna say wine, and it's at the Namas Suncrest Winery. It's in Talent, and it's their Barbera. It's to die for.
Alrighty. What is your favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
The place I just mentioned, because I want to go so bad. It's Mount Hart, and it's supposed to be this glass house.
The last candidate of the year is Nick Hess, Republican from Tigard. Alrighty, now it's time for our famous lightning round. So first off, ducks or beavers?
Oh, beavers all the way. So my stepdad was part of the Giant Killers back in the 60s. So he was the quarterback. So from the time that I met him at 7, I have been to most home games and been just absorbed into that system. That's an easy one.
Alrighty. Well, what's your favorite Oregon landmark?
I probably would say the Pinnock Mansion. I don't know how many people actually know the Pinnock Mansion. I mean, there's songs about it, so they probably know it from that. But I grew up going there. I went on dates there. I went on picnics.
Special thanks to all the candidates who appeared on EO Talks this year. It has been very special to hear candidates talk about themselves in their own words. Head to EO Alive in 2022 for more unfiltered interviews with candidates for state and local office. Happy New Year, Eastern Oregon.